After 7 years of trading, it took me almost 3 years to become profitable. But following this one candle strategy, now I only trade for less than 90 minutes a day using a simple 3-step system. This candle gets rid of all the noise and confusion from complex trading strategies and helps me trade in a simplified way. In this video, I'll share my daily one candle strategy, and then I'll backtest it over a 1-week period so you can see exactly how it works in real time. So when you're trading right now, does your chart look like this? Here you can see a lot of different key levels, areas of demand, areas of support, and really there's just too much noise on this chart. And for me, I like to keep my charts very simple. So the purpose of today's video is I will explain how I was able to get rid of second guessing every single one of my trades, along with getting rid of those confusing strategies that can be extremely complicated and swapping them out with my 3-step A+ daily candle strategy. Now, this is the same daily candle strategy that's allowed me to have consistent results in the market over the last couple years. But whenever I talk about my own results, it's important to remember it took me 3 years to become a profitable trader, and trading is not a get-rich-quick scheme. But in this video, I'll show you a strategy that's simple and only uses one candle. So there's 3 steps for the one candle strategy. Step number 1 will be identifying key levels. These are key areas of liquidity that we need to understand. Step 2 is confirming the direction of the market. And finally, step 3 will be entry confirmations. In this video, I'm going to explain every single step of this strategy to help you understand exactly how to trade it. Then I will show you examples in the real markets so you can see exactly how I execute it in real time. So there's a 3-step simple entry model for this strategy that we will be covering today. For step number 1, what we want to do is draw out the high and low of the daily candle. The daily candle is very important. This is because most of the volume throughout the day is going to be in the previous day high and the previous day low. This is where the most liquidity is sitting. Liquidity simply refers to buy orders near the support and sell orders near the resistance, which is this high. So we want to mark out the daily time frame candle. For the daily time frame candle, it will be from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. From this time, this range of 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. is what we're going to mark out for our daily high and low. And no matter if you're trading crypto, stocks, options, futures, or even Forex, this is the time frame that you're going to use. It will be from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. You're going to mark out the high and low of that session. For step 2, all we're going to do is go on a lower time frame and wait for a breakout. As we can see here, once we're on that lower time frame, all we're looking for is a break above the previous day high or a break below the previous day low. This break will show us that if we break above, there is more demand than supply, and if we break below, this will show us that there's more supply than demand. And therefore, this will help us gauge which way the market wants to trend or the direction of the market. For time frames, it really depends on what you trade. If you're trading the 15-minute or 5-minute time frame, that's fine as well. If you're trading the 1-minute time frame, you can also use that. For me personally, I typically trade either the 5-minute time frame or the 1-minute time frame when it comes to this strategy. Now, for the actual execution of the trade, this is step 3. For this, we want to go on the 1-minute time frame. On the 1-minute time frame, once we have confirmed the breakout, all we are doing is waiting for the pullback. Now, this pullback has to come back into the previous day high. So this would be the previous day high, and we need to pull back into this previous day high area for the next move to the upside. And this will be done for myself personally on the 1-minute time frame because that's what I'm trading. However, you can also trade, like I said, the 15-minute or 5-minute. One key thing to note is I only trade from 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern every day. I don't trade after 11 a.m. Eastern. This is because this is when the most volume in the market is happening, and when there's more volume, that means there's more volatility, which means there's a higher probability chance that the stock moves to the direction that we want it to. Therefore, I trade from 9:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern every day, and that's when I execute this strategy. So in summary, there's 3 simple steps for this strategy. First, mark out the previous day high and low, then go on to a lower time frame and wait for the stock to break out. This is the time frame that you prefer. For myself personally, this would be either the 5-minute or the 1-minute time frame. And then finally, go to the 1-minute time frame or whatever time frame you prefer. Like I said, enter the pullback. This would be the retest entry back into the previous day high looking for the upside. Same thing, if we broke below the previous day low, you would look for the previous day low retest for continuation back to the downside. Now, you may be asking yourself, if it's so simple, is it profitable? Well, in this video, now that I've shown you the strategy, I'm going to backtest this over a 1-week period. This way, by the end of the video, not only will I show the wins, but I will also show the losses that this strategy may potentially have. And therefore, the goal is to transparently show you the results of this strategy if you only trade this one system. Okay, so here we are on our first example, and we're going to mark out both the previous day low and we're going to mark out the previous day high. Now we're going to back test this strategy over a 1 week period, so you'll see both the losses and the wins for the strategy over the whole week. But now that we've marked out the previous day high and low, let's go over to the lower time frame. And remember, at the end of the video, I'll show you the full back tested results over this whole week period. For this day, what we want is a break above the previous day high, a retest and continuation, or a break below, retest and continuation. So for step 2 now, all we have to wait for is to see which way the market actually wants to break. Is it below the previous day high or is it above the previous day high? Okay, so right away here, we can see this market is actually breaking to the downside. We are now below the previous day low and we got a candle closure below the previous day low. So now this is going to be extremely simple. We want the stock to simply retest back into this previous day low, looking for continuation back to the downside. That's simple. Let's see if we get that retest. And just like that here, you can see we actually broke below. We are now bringing the stock back up. This is the pullback for the break and retest. And we are retesting with weaker price action. This upper wick, which is simply this green line right here, shows that buyers tried to bring the stock up. However, sellers came in and closed it below the previous day low. Now what we want to do is look for a short position here. Our stop loss can simply be a break of the candle that we're entering on. And we need at least a 2R multiple. That low of day gives us about a 3R multiple. So if we enter the trade here and we're looking for that low of day move, we're risking about $360 for $840 of potential profit. And once again, I'll show you the total results of this full week at the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But let's play out this trade. And just like that, you can see we went all the way from this retest level right down into that low of day level. And this was a simple $840 trade. Now, this was day 1 of backtesting the strategy. Let's go over to day 2. Okay, so here we are on the second day. We have the previous day high and the previous day low. And we're still waiting for the exact same thing, which is a break above, a retest, and continuation back to the upside or to the downside. With this being said, let's see if we can get that breakout. And if we can, then we will be looking for the retest. So far, you can see buyers are very aggressive on this name. And now all we're simply looking for is the pullback back into the previous day high. Let's see if we can get a pullback into this area. And right here, you can see we broke above with a lot of strength. A lot of buyers stepped up into this area, showing that there is more demand. However, now we are pulling back into this previous area of resistance, which is now turned support. And buyers know this is where we need to buy the stock up for a move back up into high of day. So for this one, it would be very simple what we need to do. We need to look for high of day with our stop loss simply at a break of the candle that we're entering in on. The reason we can have a tight stop here is because this is a very nice aggressive move to the upside. With this tight stop, you have to remember that we don't really have any other areas of support unless we have one all the way down here in this previous 1 candle rule, which if you don't know what the 1 candle rule is, I have a full video on that in the free 10-hour playlist going over exactly how to start day trading in the link in the description, absolutely free on YouTube. So you can watch that after this video. But with this being said, because we can't do that, our stop loss has to be simply a break below this level. Now, this would be an 8R multiple trade, which simply means for every $280 of risk, we would make almost $2,530 of profit. Let's confirm our entry here and let's see if we can get that nice move back up into high of day. And unfortunately, as you can see, this last red candle actually ended up closing below that previous level. Even though this candle didn't, this candle did end up closing below the key level with even the shaded body closing below. And therefore, we would have been stopped out of this trade. Now, it's very important to wait for candle closures like I always talk about in my videos. However, even waiting for candle closures, we would have gotten stopped out regardless on this trade. This trade was a loss on the second day. And this is why I'm backtesting over a 1 week period. You guys see, even though the setup looked good, it still failed because nothing in trading is guaranteed. It is a probability-based game. However, it is our job to put ourselves in front of the highest probability entry models, and this strategy simplifies that for us. With this being said, this is the second day. This was a losing day. Let's go over to the third day. Okay, here we are on day 3. We marked out the previous day high and the previous day low. All we have to do now is either wait for the previous day high to break or the previous day low to break. So let's stay on the 1 minute time frame and let's see if we can get that break above or below. In this example here, we can see we actually broke above the previous day high. So now what what we're going to be waiting for is a pullback retest back into this previous day high, looking for continuation to the upside. Let's see if we can get that retest entry. So right here, you can see we broke above and now we're doing an immediate retest right off that previous day high level. So this is going to be the area that we want to focus on for a move back to the upside. Now, how would we be looking for this? Well, we could look to enter the trade here. Our stop loss is simply going to be a break back below the previous day high, and we need at least a 2R multiple. In this example, this would come at the 180.40 whole psychological number. So we're risking about $520 for a $1,130 of potential gain. Let's enter into the trade here and let's see exactly what happens. And just like that, you can see we were able to capture this trade, and this was a great trading example of a trade moving to the upside and nicely executed. Now let's go over to the fourth day. Here we are on day 4. We marked out the previous day high and previous day low. Now this is an interesting day because we are opening up right in the middle of the range. This trade, you can see this is pre-market right here, this shaded area, and we're opening up right in the middle of the previous day high and the previous day low. Typically when this happens, we want to wait for the stock to either break above or below. However, you have to remember that I only trade until 11 a.m. Eastern. Let's see if we can actually get that candle break above or below until 11 a.m. The reason this strategy is so effective in my opinion is because we can see in between the range of the previous day high and the previous day low, this is all noise to us. We obviously have the 5-minute setup strategy. If you've watched my channel, you know what strategy I'm talking about. If you haven't, that strategy will also be in the playlist in the link in the description. We know that is a strategy that we can trade. However, in between the previous day high and the previous day low, if we don't see anything forming, especially if we just see consolidation and chop, that shows us that's usually going to be a little bit more of a consolidative day and we don't want to take a trade. Let's see what happens on this name until 11 o'clock and if we actually do end up getting a setup that forms for us. And as you can see, it is now after 11 o'clock. It is actually 11:09. And this trade has simply just consolidated in range all day today. Therefore, using the strategy of the previous day high and the previous day low, we were able to completely avoid this low probability day. We have one more day of backtesting, and then I'm going to show you the final results at the end of this video. So let's go over to the final day. Okay, here we are on the final day. You can see we drew out the previous day high and the previous day low back here as well. You can see we're actually trying to open up above the previous day high here as well. So now what we can do is simply go over to the 1 minute time frame, and on the 1 minute time frame you can see now all we would be essentially waiting for is going to be a retest of this previous day high because we've already broken above, and we'd be looking for continuation to the upside. Now remember, this is the last day. We've backtested this over a 1 week period, so let's see what happens for this final trade, and then I'll show you the final results at the end of this video. So far you can see a lot of buyers stepping up, very aggressive right on the day. However, we need the previous day high retest if we are looking to take a trade on this day. And here you can see we're actually getting that previous day high retest and buyers are stepping up. This is where we would have to take the trade based off of our 3 simple rules. We drew out the previous day high and low. We then waited for the stock to break above, and now this would be our entry criteria. We're going to be targeting out high of day here, and our stop loss can simply be a break back below that previous day high. You can see this is a 5R trade, so if we put our stop loss right below and our profit target up here, you can see we are risking $500 for a potential gain of $2,700. Let's confirm our entry here and let's see exactly what happens and how this trade plays out. And as we can see, just like that, we were able to capture this entire trade back to the upside by following this simple strategy. Now that we've done the whole 1 week back test and I've shown you the strategy, let's go look at the results of the strategy if you only traded the previous day high and low strategy. Okay, so when we look at the total results for this entire week, we won 3 out of 4 trades, which means the strategy had a 75% win rate in the entire week. For day 1, we made $840. For day 2, we lost $280. For day 3, we won $1,130. Day 4, we didn't take a trade. And of course, for day 5, we made $2,730. This puts our total to $4,420 for the entire week if we traded one simple strategy. Now, it's important to remember the reason I did a 1 week back test is to show you what happens if you follow a simple strategy. But to get proven data of a system, you need to back test over months or years. And therefore, I have a very special video coming out next week, which a lot of you guys will be excited for. With that being said, if you want more information on how to start day trading as an absolute beginner, make sure to click the video on screen now. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow me on Instagram and Twitter for more education. And I will see you next week with a brand new video.